Welcome back to Troy's Remote Work Series, Episode 3. How do you connect to the internet when you're working remotely? In Episode 2, you'll remember we talked about what kind of work you can do remotely. In this episode, we're going to talk about how you get to the internet when you need to do the work that you can only do when you're connected to the internet. There's 3 primary ways you can get to the internet. At some locations, you'll have access to Wi-Fi. You only want to use Wi-Fi that's secure. A lot of Wi-Fi is open out there. Public Wi-Fi is open and is susceptible for people being able to access your data when you're connected to those public Wi-Fi connections. So I recommend not using open public Wi-Fi. The second way, and a way I use a lot, is tethering to my cell phone. Couple of things to talk about when you're tethering to your cell phone. Number 1, cell phones is a shared service. What I mean by that, I've got an example of it. I was at Grand Beach Provincial Park. I'm there during the week, getting a fantastic data connection, really good speeds, Monday to Friday. Everything was working fine. Could do Teams calls, could do email. The weekend comes, thousands of people show up, both in the campground, in the cabins, on the beach. Literally, I couldn't send a text message during the weekend. So sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. You have to remember that. And in some places, you get absolutely no cell phone service and then therefore no data. So you cannot tether to your cell phone. As well, when you're tethering to your cell phone, remember, you're using your data off your data plan. So you want to check how much data you're using if you're tethering to your cell phone, your laptop, because you may be in for a big surprise at the end of the month when you get overage charges from your provider. And depending on your plan, it can get very expensive very fast. The third way, and this is a recent development in the last couple of years, Starlink Roam service, or before Roam, they called it Starlink RV. What this basically is a satellite connection to the internet you can take virtually anywhere. I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in a future episode because it deserves a lot of time devoted to it, so I can explain all about the Starlink Roam service and how I use it almost exclusively for remote work. Another thing you got to worry about in remote work, you're connecting with Wi-Fi, you're connecting with your cell phone, tethering into it, or using Starlink. You need a certain amount of speed with that connection, depending on the type of work you're doing. Standard email, you need to upload and download email. You need 1 megabit per second. There's going to be a table that I'm going to be showing that explains this. If you're doing things like a Teams call, Zoom, you're trying to do a video call with fairly high quality, you're going to need between 2 to 3 megabytes per second in order to have that call be quality and not have issues with voice and or video. And then if you're going to some hosted applications such as QuickBooks Online or HubSpot or Salesforce, those require upwards of 5 megabits per second from your remote connection. So depending on what you're using, Wi-Fi, cell phone, or Starlink, you need to know what kind of speeds you're getting in order to know if you're getting connection that's fast enough to support what you need to do. That wraps up episode 3 of Remote Work. Keep tuning in for the next episode where I'll be talking exclusively about types of VPN connections, virtual private network connections you can use for remote work securely. Thanks.